Hello and welcome back to another TYR review. Today what I'm reviewing, Culdee. Hello and welcome to this TYR review. I'm so sorry I haven't been on a while, but let's get to the review. So today what I'm reviewing is obviously Culdee. So let's get a little bit of the history of Culdee first. Culdee is an engine working on the Culdee Fell Mountain Railway, which runs from the electric line, which runs to Peel Galdred, up to Culdee Fell, which is at the top of this mountain. It was built to compete with the Skarloey Railway for tourists wanting to see the mountains in the area. It is built on a rack railway. What a rack railway is an extremely steep railway, usually on around a 14-degree grade, which is 14 feet per mile elevation, which is a lot. Normally it's 3. So yeah. So Culdee Fell is a rack railway, and it has a third rail in the middle of its railway. Just imagine it here. But then it has a cogs. You know what a cog is? It goes up and down, grooves like a gear. Then the gear is in Culdee, so every one of his wheels actually has another one. So he would have where you see 2 wheels here, as in here and there on that axle, he would have 3, and the third one would go on the cog, so he could climb extremely steep hills. I've been on one of these in Switzerland before, but yeah, they are crazy steep, and yeah. So after the railway was built, Culdee and his brothers worked the line for a number of years with a railway series book, as you can read. So they re-released Culdee 2 times. This is the first one. One of the most notable things on this model, and certainly when I was a kid, the thing that fascinated me the most, the face on the back. At the same time as being creepy, it's kind of cool and fascinating. It's just purple face, kind of like not even sure what to classify it as. It's not a Mighty Max situation where you have 2 separate engines attached to the same body. It's completely the same engine with just another set of eyes, nose, and mouth. So, and that's something to note. And because he would go up and down the railways like this. So when he's going down, his drivers had to look at the back. So yeah. He has a general purple livery, which is standard for the Culdee Fell Railway, and gravement in red and yellow. He has the number 4, he's Culdee Fell Railway number 4. And yeah, he has a rather small boiler, and if you really look, it's on, sorry, this is getting in the way. If you really look, it's on a slant. It's slanting downwards because he has to go onto the hills like this, so the boiler is actually a little bit more level. Actually, you know what? The old model doesn't slant. That's one thing I noticed, but it doesn't slant. The new model slants. I'll show it on the new model. But he has to go like this, so it would be an ineffective boiler. But yeah, so it shows here he has 2 domes. One of my theories why he doesn't have a chimney in this model or funnel is because he doesn't have a smoke box. In my opinion, every model that doesn't have a smoke box in the classic area doesn't have a funnel, such as Donald and Douglas and Duck, and the list goes on. So there you go. This is the old model of Culdee. Many things like nice little details, making this a detailed but simplistic model. And I'm really glad they released this because it's a whole railway on Sodor, which only got 1 railway series book, but there's so much to expand on it. Now let's go to the updated version. So when they re-released the model, they re-released it in a 3-pack with the flatbed and apple cars. So I'm going to review each of these pieces separately. So firstly, we have the second Culdee itself right here. So this Culdee is much like the first one, with the face arguably a lot more scary. And just everything being a lot more detailed. You get a little bit more of the exotic mechanic work in there with all the fancy gears and levers and any moving parts. And then you have your actual tilt here. So imagine, you might say, why is this boiler tilted? Imagine it's going up a hill like this. That boiler is actually level now. See, so it actually burns evenly. So that's why that's like this. And the face is a lot more CGI, even though it was never even a model. Looks a lot more just CGI like it would be normally. And yeah, mine's a little worn. This is the one I had as a kid. So yeah, a lot more detailed though. But it removes the simplistic, and it has a lot more plastic. All the smoke box area is plastic. All the face and all the side plates are all plastic. That's one thing I really note on it. So let's compare it. So obviously this one has a lot more detail, and this one is a lot classic. So basically, I'm not going to say which one's better. It's all up to your personal review. For a collector, I think this one's better because it's the simple classic wooden railway that we really collect for. Then for a realist, then this one's way better. So many more details nailed down. It's actually a very accurate model without going into rivets. So I think they did a bang up job on both of these, even though the face is just a little bit. Okay, enough of that. So yeah, I think they did a good job on this one. Right now, let's get into Apple cars. For some reason, they released this model with Apple cars and a flat lift. So let's first look at the flat lift. I actually really like this. It allows me to have a flat lift on a dockside or something like that, other than Kevin. It has a little Natford orchard there. It's very simplistic. Let me just focus the camera, sorry. It doesn't focus too well. But yeah, so it says Natford orchard on the side. It's a little beaten up with some plasticine here and there. I'm sorry, it's me as a kid. I used to love plasticine, and somehow it got incorporated with my railway, as you can blatantly see all over it. Yeah, not the cleanest of childhood model railways. But yeah, so it's mildly detailed. It has all the doors and windows and steps and road wheels. It's dated 2003, but it's probably much later than 2003. Maybe a 2005 or 4 or something. And then this flat lift. And I think it's very innovatively designed. You see, it's designed so it has a magnet on it. So it actually magnetizes the goods so that it could have an easier time staying on. It actually, this is metal, so it's magnet. And another good thing I like about this, you see when it's folded up on here properly, which you can do like that, you can spin this. So you can actually spin this right around, or you can spin it off. It actually has a decent flatbed too. You have your fuel here, and you have a Natford orchard. Who knows if it's apples or parts to repair the lift in, but it's either way, I love this flatbed, other than the obvious purple coat. And yeah, it's just going to match Culdee, the only reason they use purple. And it's heavily plastic, only the 2 pieces, and no, I think this is the first plastic truck they ever had. Look at this, it's plastic, predating all the others. I guess so, because it's probably the smallest one of these they've ever had too. That's really interesting. I've never really looked at that closely. And the 2 pieces of wood there. So yeah. So I love this. And then the apples. So let's see how these work together. So it's unloaded, and you're picking up your apples. Look at that. It slides down under it perfectly. And you could easily raise this off the flatbed and take it to wherever needs flat apples. Now this delivery in particular is going to the fat controller. He just ordered his breakfast. There you go. See? He's eating it now. Alright, back to business. So yeah, I think it was a great pack at the time. Yeah, I just really love this model, and there might be a reason why I'm stacking up on both the models. Okay, I'm just going to reveal my plans here. It's going to be another Railway Series conversion I'm planning for, buying up Culdee models to try to get a Culdee Railway. So basically, in the Culdee Railway, they had 2 periods of locomotive buying in the Railway Series. The one fleet, which was the original engines, which had lower power, than the second fleet with higher class engines with better power and fuel economy and a few other things. So I'm going to use the classic Culdee models for the original 3, and I'm going to use the new style Culdee models for the next 4, which were bought in a batch later. So that's my plan on that front. Alright, that just about wraps up my review. Fat Controller's eating his apples. Have a close up on that. Yeah, apples and coal. It's the new style for breakfasts.